What if I told you that a billionaire you've probably never heard of might own more of America than most Americans ever will? Not just homes, but farmland, factories, and even Hollywood. And no, this isn't some conspiracy. Chapter 1. Who is Guo Wengui? Alright, let me tell you a wild story about a guy named Guo Wengui. You might also hear people call him Miles Guo, Miles Kwok, Brother 7, or his legal name, Ho Wan Kwok. But no matter the name, this guy made headlines all over the world. He used to be a big-shot real estate businessman in China. We're talking rich, like private jet, super yacht, Manhattan penthouse kind of rich. But in 2000, Guo suddenly left China. He said the Chinese government was after him. A few years later, he applied for asylum in the United States, claiming he was being hunted by the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP. And guess what? He didn't just lay low and disappear. Nope, he got louder, way louder. Guo started making bold, fiery videos online, attacking the CCP. These weren't filmed in some tiny room. Picture this. He's in a luxury apartment or chilling on a 150-foot yacht, talking about top Chinese officials like he's exposing secrets from a spy movie. But the plot thickens. He didn't do all this alone. He teamed up with Steve Bannon, the former White House strategist. Together, they launched something called the New Federal State of China. Their goal? Bring down the CCP. Guo built a huge online army, mostly made of Chinese folks living outside of China. His message? Nationalism, freedom, and a big no to the Communist Party. But as we dig deeper, you'll see things aren't as clear-cut as they seem. Chapter 2. Where it all began. Guo's life didn't start in fancy suits and million-dollar condos. Nope. He was born in 1970 in a poor village in Shandong, one of 8 kids in a struggling family. Life wasn't easy. He even did time in prison. But after that, boom. He got into real estate and climbed his way to the top billionaire level. Now here's something important. Guo himself has said that he made powerful friends in China's intelligence circles. He claimed that's how he got insider info on the government. But others? They say that's suspicious. Some people even accused him of playing both sides, like being a double agent for China while pretending to fight against it. Back in 2014, things started going south. After a business deal went bad and one of his spy contacts got arrested, Guo ran, first to London, then to New York. And that's where he started mixing with big names, even donated millions to a foundation linked to Tony Blair, the former UK Prime Minister. Unlike other people who run from China and try to stay quiet, Guo went full volume. He called out top Chinese officials for corruption. That made Beijing furious. They accused him of crimes, serious stuff like bribery, fraud, and worse, and they even tried to get him arrested through Interpol. Still, Guo wasn't scared. He jumped on Twitter, YouTube, live streams, you name it. And in 2017, when he met Bannon, things exploded. They did podcasts together, built new media platforms like GTV, and used every trick to get attention. Guo's fans? They were all in. But the way he used this fan power got weird. People started attacking those he didn't like. Guo called it punishing traitors. Some got threats, some were stalked, and some were once his own supporters, now scared of him. So how did all this lead to people saying Guo owned half of America? Chapter 3. How Guo Wengui ended up owning half of America. This question itself sounds like a wild exaggeration, right? But once you look at how much money he threw around, it actually kind of makes sense. This wasn't just a guy who moved to the United States and bought a house or two. Nah, Guo went all in. He poured millions, no, hundreds of millions, into American banks, real estate, hedge funds, tech, crypto, even politics. He didn't just live in America. He invested himself deep into the system. Yes, he dropped $50 million on a mansion in New Jersey. Not your average big house. We're talking private elevators, gold decor, the works. Then came the cars. A custom Bugatti worth over $4.4 million, a $1 million Lamborghini, and a $4 million Ferrari for his son. For fun, he had a $140,000 piano, a TV worth $62,000, and yes, even his fireplace log holder cost over $50,000. And don't forget the yachts. Guo maintained a 145-foot luxury yacht that cost over 2.3 million US dollars just to keep running. His rug collection alone was nearly $1 million. Yep, rugs. That's how deep his spending went. But it wasn't just personal stuff. He put $100 million US dollars into a hedge fund called Heyman Capital, trying to bet against the Hong Kong dollar. That move didn't work out too well, but it shows you how high he was playing. He spread his money across United States mansions, places in New York and New Jersey, plus investments in media companies, private equity, and more hedge funds. Super yachts, parked in American marinas. He built a whole empire that touched everything from finance to tech to crypto, all operating from United States soil. That's why some people say he owned half of America. It wasn't just about land and buildings. It was about how much influence and cash he poured into the country. Chapter 4. But it wasn't just about money. Guo wasn't just buying fancy toys. He was also trying to buy influence. In the United States, he co-founded GTV Media and the New Federal State of China, both working to push anti-CCP messages. These projects were funded by backers in the US, especially from the Chinese American community. He teamed up with Steve Bannon, the former White House strategist, and tried to use the United States' platforms to shift public opinion. Guo's videos and media content started talking about COVID-19 conspiracies, Chinese government secrets, and everything in between. In a way, he wasn't just buying buildings, he was buying narratives. And that's where things got even messier. This influence and the way he used it brought him the consequences that shattered the life he was living. Chapter 5. From billionaire to behind bars. But you can't keep all this up forever, especially if there's shady stuff going on behind the scenes. Soon, the United States government came knocking. Guo was hit with huge charges, including wire fraud, bank fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and many others. Authorities said he raised over $1 billion US dollars from his online followers. He told them they were investing in big ventures, crypto like Himalaya Coin, elite clubs, and media companies, but prosecutors say it was all a front. Most of that money, they claimed, went straight into Guo's pockets. They seized around $634 million US dollars from 21 bank accounts, along with a mansion, sports cars, and GTV stocks. Definitely not a small amount. He was arrested in Manhattan. Just hours later, a fire broke out in his luxury penthouse. Coincidence? Who knows? He first pleaded not guilty, but later he was convicted on 9 out of 12 counts. Now, Guo's sitting in jail, no bail, waiting for his sentence. It could be up to 20 years. Even the jury was kept anonymous because of security fears. Crazy, right? His team tried to argue that Guo's lifestyle was just a loud protest against the Chinese Communist Party, but prosecutors said otherwise. They believed he used political activism as a clever mask for running massive Ponzi-style frauds. Whatever it is, his luxury life is all gone. Just like that. His story really makes you stop and think. Should we feel inspired, or should we take it as a warning? The way he built his empire is seriously impressive, but the way he lost it all? Not so much. Maybe if he had used that brilliant brain in a different way, something even bigger, maybe something magical, could have happened. But it's too late now. But you can't deny it. A guy who came from poverty in China ended up building a billion-dollar empire in the United States. That's either the wildest success story or the biggest red flag, maybe both. If this story blew your mind, made you think twice, or even taught you what not to do, don't forget to like, comment, and share.